LA Noire was ahead of its time. I remember walking into GameStop when I was a kid and seeing a game that genuinely looks like a movie. I'd always wanted to play it, and I finally got my hands on it a few years later. I loved it. Every mission was fun, every character was vivid and alive, and the cases were just so involving. The interrogations were interesting, and it really helped the story flow. It is still one of the games I come back to every once in a while. However, I understand why there was never a sequel. The production of the game was insanely expensive, and the production itself had many skeletons in its closet. The game tells the story of Cole Phelps after he arrives home from World War II, as he makes his rise from a cop walking a beat to a hero in the department to the fallen angel he would die as. The story takes us through 4 departments and 4 partners that act as moral foils for Cole. The storytelling in this game is fantastic. If you haven't played it or seen a playthrough, then you really need to. Let's start with the history of the game and the production company itself. After the release of The Getaway in 2002, the writer-director Brendan McNamara left Team Soho to go to Sydney, Australia and form Team Bandai, a 6-person team. Shortly after, in 2004, the production of LA Noire starts. McNamara had always been interested in 1940s LA. With the technological advancements of the PlayStation 3, he saw a new opportunity to explore the noir setting. He started with a 4 to 5 page outline, then went to the LA Public Library to get inspiration. Originally, the studio made an agreement with Sony, who then handed them to Rockstar in 2006, 2 years after development started. Development was assisted by many different teams in the Rockstar conglomerate. Unlike other Rockstar games, the engine used by Bandai was that of an in-house engine from Bandai. A lot of the gameplay of LA Noire surrounds the interrogations, which use real-time facial motion tracking from a sister company owned by McNamara. Everything was meant to be as realistic as possible, with some exceptions like the Intolerance set having been destroyed before the game starts. With a 2,200-page script and over 20 hours of voiceover to do, the team needed a great cast. Aaron Staton was tapped to play Cole Phelps, and he did a great job. It's a shame he's mostly known for his role on Mad Men instead of this. After having been announced to release in 2005 and several other delays, it was announced for 2008. Then 2009. Then 2010. Then finally 2011, when it was finally released to overall positive reviews. Some liked the story, while others derided the repetitive gameplay. Short after is when things started going downhill. After release, a group of former Team Bandai employees launched a website called LA Noire Credits, containing over 100 names excluded or incorrectly listed in the official credits. An anonymous employee claimed he was asked to work 10 to 12 hours every day, including weekends. This is called crunch time and is inhumane to its laborers, but is seen as necessary in the tech industry. Team Bandai's was like no other, having employees work 80 to 110 hours a week. In a report by IGN, several members of the team publicly discussed the studio's managerial treatment, staff turnover rates, working hours, and working conditions associated with LA Noire, while others claimed that McNamara had been controlling and verbally abusive, and others spoke about their increased workload as a result of high turnover. Some ex-employees even claimed that they were not paid for overtime, which McNamara denies. Following this report, the International Game Developers Association launched an investigation against Team Bandai to verify the claims. Lead gameplay programmer David Hieronymus and senior gameplay programmer Charles Leveberve denied the claims, acknowledging crunch was unfortunate but inevitable, and stating that they were not aware of any unpaid overtime or abusive working conditions. McNamara felt that he had been unfairly maligned by many ex-employees, noting other artists and businessmen in other industries, such as Steve Jobs, Sam Peckinpah, and Werner Herzog, had performed worse actions than he had with much less vilification. He claimed the studio had improved its working conditions in the months after release, including the introduction of Flexitime. In July 2011, a series of confidential emails were leaked along with further comments from staff members who claimed they highlight the contentious relationship between Team Bondi and Rockstar. McNamara questioned how the confidential emails were allowed to be shared, noting it sets a pretty dangerous precedent. Speaking to GamesIndustry.biz, an anonymous source from the development team claimed Rockstar saved the project, but the relationship between Rockstar and Team Bondi was badly damaged, and it was quite clear further collaborations were unlikely. The source claimed Rockstar was frustrated with the direction at Team Bondi, and as a result, management at Team Bondi resented Rockstar for taking lots of creative control. They added Rockstar, quote, used to be very keen on making Team Bondi something like Rockstar Sydney, but the more they worked with the Team Bondi management, the more they came to understand that this was a terrible idea. McNamara remained optimistic about his relationship with Rockstar and said, hopefully it doesn't have any hard feelings about us. Rockstar wouldn't publish any of Bandai's other games, and the studio was liquidated in August 2011. Later, McNamara would try and make another game, a spiritual successor to LA Noire, with another company, KMM, but the game and the company fell through. And there's not much I can add on this front. I love the game, but the way to end this is to read through some more of the employee statements, just to really show you what happened with this. Quote, it's pretty well reported now that the working conditions were bad. What hasn't been discussed yet, from what I've seen, is the relationship between Team Bondi and Rockstar. I've heard a lot about Rockstar's disdain for Team Bondi, and it has been quite clear that they will not publish Team Bondi's next game. Team Bondi are trying to find another publisher for the next title, but the relationship with Rockstar has been badly damaged. Brendan treats LA Noire like a success due to his vision, but I think Rockstar are the ones who saved the project. They continued to sink money into LA Noire, and their marketing was fantastic. Without their continued support, Team Bondi would have gone under several years ago. We were constantly told that the project was only 6 months away from being done, to justify the long hours. It was always the final push. There are so many emails like this talking about a final push. I don't have all of them, but it was a constant theme. Management knew this was untrue, but maintained the lie anyway to keep people working. I only recall one time where a lead confirmed that they knew we weren't going to hit a release date, but that they were maintaining the lie to keep the hours up, and it was just in a private discussion, so can't post any email chat transcripts for you. Our first official internal release date was sometime in September of 2008. There was no overtime for people working late on Monday to Friday. It was only the weekends, so that contradicts what Brendan said. This isn't a small amount of work either. There were still plenty of people around at 9 p.m. every single day. The Team Bondi leads would even schedule review meetings to begin at 7 during the week. The meetings would often take more than an hour, so it's not like this work was optional. Our contracts were also revised so that the hours were 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. mandatory every day, an increase of 7 hours a week with no increase to our salary. I should point out that after the game was released and was very successful, management picked several people, about 30 I think, who they felt had worked particularly hard over the project and gave them some bonus time off. So I think that's what Brandon is referring to when he says bonus scheme for working evenings. Personally, I sunk in a huge amount of extra hours during the week that weren't compensated. I am okay with that. I just want to call Brandon on his bullshit. It must have been a form of hell that is unknown to the people who have no idea what it was like to work on this game. It sounds like a demented Twilight Zone episode taking place in the early 2010s. I hope that we can all learn something from this. Maybe a lesson in leadership or to manage expectations. This was a retrospective on LA Noire. Thank you for watching.